So linear systems, section 5, I would say about 50% of it revolves around RC/RL transient response, or maybe 30%, 1/3 of the section, in which we are dealing with switching that is happening for DC circuits, okay? Because the interesting thing about DC circuits is that imagine if I connect, and we've discussed this in a lot of detail. So this is a very, very quick review because I'm doing a strategic overview over here. And I connect, there's an internal small resistance over here. And I connect these two terminals with a wire, right? And then this is a small resistor R, and this is a voltage source. You're gonna treat this wire as a short, right? Yeah. And if I say that I have a voltage source now, internal resistance, and I have an inductor. At the end of the day, inductor is still a copper wire without any intentional resistance built into it, but it is coiled. And as we learned earlier in electromagnetics, when we have a rotating current, a magnetic field is set up, right? So for all practical purposes under steady state conditions, this is simply equal to a voltage source that is shorted like this, correct? And it should act as a closed circuit, as a short. That's what inductors should do in steady state. But what we learned during DC analysis is that if we have an inductor that is sitting pretty over here, and if we have a switch that had been open for a long time, and there's no magnetic field stored in the inductor, let's say, magnetic energy, and if I just close the switch and suddenly apply a voltage across an inductor, the tendency of the inductor will be to let the entire current go through it or to act as an open circuit at this particular instant. Will it be a short circuit or an open circuit at this instant? What have we learned? Inductors hate sudden change in the current. So when I apply a voltage source suddenly on top of an inductor, it will act as an open circuit. What about the capacitors then? Remember that capacitors and inductors behave differently. So during the transient stage, capacitor, if it has no external charge or if it has a charge which is less than that of the external source, will act as a short circuit. And we have worked this out through different analogies. For the RL transient circuit, I gave you guys the water wheel analogy, right? And for the RC transient circuits, I gave you guys the example of charged balloons. Remember that? So fundamentally, if you understand the RC, the capacitor behavior and the inductor behavior during those switching, the rest of RC transient response analysis is just circuit analysis. The other issue that students run into is that interpretation of the variables. Because let's say VC of t is equal to VC, I'm going by memory, so I might be wrong over here, but this is V, capital V e raised to power minus t divided by RC. The formula looks something like this, okay? Now there are 3 V's involved over here, and same thing for the inductors, right? But each one of these V's mean something different. This is the charge across the capacitor as a function of time. This is the initial charge on the capacitor. This is the charge. This is the voltage. Sorry, not the charge. These are capacitor voltages. Initial voltage across the capacitor. And this is the voltage of the external power source. Okay. All of these 3 V's mean something different. So this is where you have to pay special attention to the formulas, to the variables, and the circuit conditions before and after. I strongly recommend students to actually do a before and after when they're solving for transient response. And the interesting thing, guys, is that when it comes to P power exam, out of all the topics in DC circuit analysis that we have studied so far, KCL, KVL, superposition, Norton, Thevenin, this, that, they have actually included RC and RL, transient response, under DC analysis. They don't give you Thevenin equation, Thevenin theorem, Norton theorem, KCL, KVL in the reference handbook. But they explicitly mention RL and RC. It's very important. And when you start looking at inverter circuits, converters, chopper circuits, and so on, with advanced power electronics, this fundamental understanding is required. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. On a weekly basis, I'm creating content for FE electrical and PE power exam preparation. I also discuss topics related to electrical engineering with a focus on power systems engineering. If you'd like to learn more about my FE electrical and PE power exam preparation programs, please visit my website, studyforfe.com.